All right, today we're going to take a journey deep inside our own bodies. We're going to explore a hidden system that works for you every single second of the day. And you've probably never even heard of it, but it's this biological superhighway that is absolutely critical to your health, the portal circulation.
So, think about this for a second. We talk a lot about digestion, but have you ever wondered what happens after all that food is absorbed? Once your intestines pull out all the good stuff from your lunch, where does it actually go? It doesn't just get dumped into your bloodstream. Oh no, it's not nearly that simple.
And this is right where our story begins. That blood, now super rich with everything you just ate, has to take a special detour. Think of it like a mandatory exit on the body's freeway, and it leads to a very, very important destination. Welcome to the portal circulation highway.
Okay, let's start the journey. The blood that's leaving your digestive system, it's unique. It's carrying this special cargo that absolutely has to be processed before it can go anywhere else in your body.
So, the trip begins in these key places. Blood is flowing through your intestines and your stomach, kind of like a delivery truck, just picking up all the nutrients from the food you've eaten. It also makes a stop at the spleen, which is where old blood cells get recycled. So right now, this blood is full of this complex mix of useful stuff and maybe some not so useful stuff, like toxins. Now, what's really cool is that the blood from all these different organs doesn't take a bunch of little side streets. Nope, it all merges into one massive superhighway, the hepatic portal vein. This single, huge vessel carries all of that nutrient-rich blood to one vital destination. And that destination, it's the liver. Think of it as the body's master processing plant. Every single drop of blood that comes off that highway has to be inspected and filtered right here before it gets the green light to go anywhere else.
So let's do a quick recap of this whole healthy journey. It's actually pretty elegant. Step 1, blood collects all the absorbed goodies from your gut. Step 2, it all travels up that main highway, the hepatic portal vein. Step 3, it makes a crucial pit stop at the liver. And finally, Step 4, once it's all cleaned up and processed, it leaves the liver and heads back to the heart to get pumped out to the rest of the body. Simple, right? And totally essential.
So what is actually happening during this pit stop in the liver? Well, two really critical things. First, it's like a nutrient warehouse. It takes things like sugars and fats out of the blood and stores them for later, releasing them whenever your body needs a little energy boost. Second, and this is so important, it's a detox center. Any harmful stuff, toxins, drugs you might have taken, it all gets filtered out here to protect the rest of your body.
This whole system is incredible when it's running smoothly. But what happens if our processing plant, the liver, gets damaged? What happens when that main highway leading into it has a massive, unmoving roadblock? Well, as you can imagine, the consequences are serious.
And that brings us to the heart of the problem. When blood can't flow freely through the liver, it creates a dangerous traffic jam. The pressure just starts to build and build and build, and that traffic jam has a medical name.
The condition is called portal hypertension. Now, hypertension is just a fancy word for high blood pressure. So portal hypertension is just dangerously high blood pressure, but specifically in that portal vein highway. It's all because of that traffic jam at the liver's front door. The blood is trying to get through, but it just can't.
So, the big question is, why does the traffic jam happen? Well, a healthy liver, like you see on the left, is soft and spongy. Blood can flow through its tiny channels super easily. But a liver with cirrhosis on the right, that's a different story. It's hard, it's stiff, it's full of scar tissue. And that scarring squeezes all those little channels shut. It's like trying to force water through a solid rock instead of a sponge. It just doesn't work.
And what causes this severe liver scarring, this cirrhosis? Well, the most common culprits are things that cause long-term damage, like viral hepatitis, chronic and heavy alcohol use, and a growing problem that you've probably heard of called fatty liver disease. Over time, any of these can create that roadblock.
Okay, so when traffic on a real highway is completely gridlocked, what do drivers do? They start looking for any way out, right? Side streets, back roads, anything to get around the jam. Well, believe it or not, the blood in your body does the exact same thing, and this is where it gets really dangerous.
All that backed up blood is forced to find detours. These alternate routes are called collateral vessels. But here's the catch. They're smaller, much more fragile veins that were never designed to handle this much high-pressure traffic. It's the body's desperate attempt to get around the blocked liver and get that blood back to the heart. This desperate rerouting of blood creates this cascade of problems. and it leads to 3 major complications.
Now, these dangerous little back roads just aren't built for heavy traffic. So let's look at the 3 main consequences that pop up when this whole system starts to fail.
First up, esophageal varices. The backed up blood gets forced into these tiny veins in your esophagus. That's the tube connecting your throat to your stomach. These veins swell up under all that pressure, becoming super fragile and thin, like overinflated balloons. The huge danger here is that they can just burst, and that can cause sudden, massive, and often fatal internal bleeding.
The second major problem is something called ascites. The pressure inside that portal vein gets so high that the watery part of the blood, the plasma, is literally squeezed right out of the blood vessel and leaks into the abdomen. All this fluid builds up and causes this really painful swelling, and it also creates a perfect environment for serious infections to take hold.
And the third complication, this one actually affects the brain. It's called hepatic encephalopathy. Remember the liver's main job as a filter? Well, when the blood bypasses the liver using those little back road veins, all the toxins it picked up from the gut, like ammonia, they don't get filtered out. Instead, they travel directly to the brain, causing confusion, memory loss, and a really severe brain fog. The body's master filter has been bypassed, and the brain pays the price.
So as we bring all this together, it becomes crystal clear just how much we rely on this hidden system. Your liver isn't just some organ sitting there. It's a dynamic, essential gatekeeper that protects your entire body with every single meal you eat.
And this quote really just sums it all up perfectly. The portal circulation is essential because it makes sure that everything you absorb is cleaned up and balanced by the liver before it gets circulated to the rest of your body. It is your first and best line of defense against everything you consume.
And that really just leaves us with a final thought. This silent highway works around the clock to protect your brain, your heart, every other organ in your body. So the final question isn't just about understanding how it works, but about recognizing how important it is. How can you protect this system that works so hard to protect you?